Well, today, folks, it marks 1 year since Hamas fighters launched a wave of terror against innocent Israeli citizens. Since then, more than 1,200 Israelis have been killed, while about 100 hostages remain in Gaza. And in Gaza, the death toll stands at 42,000. Well, joining us live now is the former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. So it is good to talk to you again. How are you marking this sombre occasion today?
It's an annual kind of day of the worst day in the Israeli history. 7th October was the worst thing we have seen probably since the Holocaust. But yeah, we are now fighting. Hamas is basically militarily destroyed, but it's still in Gaza, still trying to shoot here and there. Hezbollah suffered major blows in the recent 3 weeks, from the pagers to the attacks on the center of command and killing of Nasrallah. The Iranians had 2 attacks with missiles, but even the last one a few days ago, probably with 180 ballistic missiles, it's basically wounded 2 people and 1 Palestinian killed in the West Bank. Basically, no major damage caused, and Israel prepares his response, and the response will come. No sovereign will suffer such an attack without responding.
You know, we are still no closer to the end of this war. Could you have imagined it would still be going on when those kids were abducted and killed at that Nova Music Festival on October 7, 2023?
I think that in a year from now it will be over. I hope that it will be over much earlier. I think it's in a way it was imposed upon Israel. We did not invite it, but we have to fight, and we will fight, and we'll win ultimately. But no one can predict how long exactly it will take, and how many people will be killed, and what the damage that will be caused. We are backed by the Americans in unprecedented way, but they are not happy with what they see as Israeli intention to risk it going into full regional war. I hope it will not deteriorate into it, but it easily can happen.
Mr. Barak, I'm not sure how much news coverage from Australia you've been able to see, but there are a few questions I'd like to ask you about it. There are pro-Palestinian activists who've held marches celebrating this anniversary, particularly in the lead up to it. How difficult is that to hear?
I'm not sure that fully understood your question. Can you repeat it, please?
So I'm just wondering, it's plenty of reaction here in Australia, and there have been pro-Palestinian marches and activists celebrating this anniversary, particularly in the lead up to it. How difficult is something like that to hear?
Look, I know Palestinians are not happy probably with it. I think that in a way, the fact that Hamas is still in power, though, reflects a grave mistake of Israel. Some Israelis do not understand the real way to remove Hamas is to replace war and the Hamas by someone else with a body which is legitimate in the eyes of the international law, international community, and in the eyes of even neighboring countries and Palestinians. And our government does not seem to believe it, but that's the case. And I know that there is a lot of disputes about what we are doing. We do not intend deliberately to kill innocent Palestinians. We call upon them for days before any attack to leave the area and so on. And many of them are staying there under the handgun to the temple by the Hamas, which wants them as a human shield. I'm sorry for the loss of life, but I don't think that we can stop it as long as the Hamas is using their own people as a human shield.
Yeah, and the point of that question is to talk about this rise in anti-Semitism that we are seeing all around the world, but particularly here in Australia too, the likes of which have not been seen since the Second World War. How do you reconcile your thoughts with that?
Look, once again, the responsibilities are mainly on Hamas, indirectly on Iran, now even directly on Iran. this ring of fire is supposed to shake Israel. You know, if you look honestly into 7th of October a year ago, it was unprecedented barbarian attack that no one experienced. You know, it's like you can't have this problem because you are surrounded by ocean, but assume that you have a neighbor just behind your border who would massacre, mutilate, rape, kind of burn, let's say 3,500 Australians. It would be something that would shake the whole Australian community. Yeah. Israel had been established in order to avoid exactly this kind of events, and we failed to do it. And now whoever kind of initiated has to suffer the consequences.